Light, light, light's not very good here, is it?
You look good. I think you're easy to see. Yeah.
It looks a little darker than when I was practicing.
Yeah. Do they need to read the paper that's in the background that's up?
No, I'm going to
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
re-show it to them. So,
Excellent.
yeah, I thought that was a good idea until I noticed it. I don't know how to zoom my camera. How to make my camera
Uh,
enlarge. Is there a way? I don't know. But anyway,
you know what? I don't know either from here. Bobby, do you know? Sorry, I'm looking down at my keyboard trying to figure it out.
yeah.
No,
Well,
but if you email me the documents, I can share them on the screen if you have them to email.
If not, though, I think having the hard copy up is okay too.
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
That's what I.
Well, and why don't we go ahead and get going? Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I know we might have some people that may join us a little bit later through the workshop, and that's not a problem ever. But we are thrilled that you are here today. Richard is here to talk to us about a CTE, Career Technical Education Designated Credential, which is the way those of us have been in the industry can then come into education. So thank you, Richard, for being here today. And I believe you're holding up your agenda, correct?
Yeah, I am. I'm
Excellent.
kind of what we're going to be talking about. And thanks, Renee, for being the host, and for Bobby Becca. You see her name on there if you're watching. So here's a few things that I'd like to try. I have been on a lot of Zooms the last 3 months, and so some of this may not be normal for you, and you may not want to do it, but there may be a little incentive in it for you. Who knows? So we're going to do a little bit of introductions. On your Zoom, though, I just said, please show your camera so that this can be interactive. One of the things that a lot of people are doing is they're not showing on their camera. So it may be that you want to put a hat on, because I asked a guy yesterday, I was on a Zoom with Renee yesterday, and I found out that one of my buddies was in the meeting. And he didn't show it just said Julio. Well, there's a lot of Julios out there. And so, who are you, Julio? So he sent me a direct text to my phone saying, hey, Richard, I see you're on the, I see your face on the camera. And I said, well, Julio, where are you? And he said, I'm having a bad hair day. So, you can relate to that. All of us can relate to that. Hey, that's great. That's great. I love to see those faces. So if you'll play my game, that's fine. What we're going to do with this drawing, that well, we'll re-explain that, but we've got some Starbucks certificates for you. We've actually got 2 opportunities for you, but one of them is going to go, I think, at 20 after. That's when the big hand gets to the 4. We're going to see who has their camera on, and we are going to select one of those people from that are there, and have a drawing. It's a raffle drawing, so that's going to be a little incentive to keep your camera on, and just relax. And so put in your name, which it looks like almost everyone has done it, but do you know how to do that? Up in the upper right-hand corner, there's a place, the upper right-hand corner. Let's see, I'm going to go to gallery view. And then, oh no, the upper right-hand corner of your box, okay, up here, you have the option, there's 3 dots, of clicking on that and of changing your name. It says rename, that's the 4th one down. So if you don't see your name show up the way you want, you can change that right now. And anyway, for 3 meetings, I was Richard Nichols, all run together, because I didn't know how to change my name. It just came up that way. So we're learning. It looks like most of you are doing a good job with that. And then keep your mic off until you're ready to talk. That's in the lower left-hand corner of your screen box. And but if you're ready to talk, then turn it on. And then I'm going to ask you just to raise your hand and keep it up until I see your hand. I'll give a nod or something like that. I know I can't really look right towards you, but just hold your finger up, and if you have a comment, because I'd like you to participate if you would. So again, show your camera, put in your name right, keep your mic off, and then raise your hand if you have something to say. So let's try to make this just like we're together. And this isn't just a stand and deliver presentation. It may turn out that way, but let's hope it doesn't, because your participation is really important. All right, so what are we going to talk about? Well, this is really why we're here. We're going to talk about a teaching credential called Career Technical Education. Now we're going to talk about teaching in general. We're going to find out who you are here in just a minute, but teaching in general. But as a CTE teacher, that's Career Technical Education teacher, that is someone that has an occupation that they want to teach in the high schools and community colleges and even in junior high schools in some cases. So one question I'd like you to respond to is, what would you want to teach? Now think about that in a minute. What would you want to teach? Really only see one person. Oh, hey, James just showed up. James, let's see your picture. James.
I'm on a Wi-Fi with 3 other people who are also.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm out in Oregon right now, so it's the connection's not so great.
Thought you were supposed to be working, James. No. Right. Okay. That's all right. So we're adding a few people. So I'm going to try to put in what I want to teach. Okay. So I'm going to go up to the upper right-hand corner, and where it says rename, watch what happens. Now, if you've seen my screen, see what happened? How many of the rest of you are going to play my game?
Should we do it too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's try it. Upper right-hand corner of your picture box, put in the question is, what would you want to teach? Okay, now, James, I'm going to watch yours pop up there. Come on. Since I've been working with James, I know what he wants to teach. Okay. So far, hey, geography, Bobby, huh? See, I didn't know that. She's a social science teacher. Okay. And a culinary, you're a cook. Renee would like to be a culinary arts teacher.
Not trained, but I think I'm pretty decent.
All right. And then preschool. That's good. Okay. Then that gives me an idea. Okay. And design process. You see, so the rest of you can see now who we have here, right? And kind of what their interest is. So the important thing is to figure out what is your passion. What do you really want to teach? Now, to kind of go back up and introduce myself, when I was in the 11th grade, all of you look like you're older than 11th graders, okay? But when I was in the 11th grade, I decided that I wanted to become a woodworking teacher in high school. I was in high school, very unusual. But the reason I did that is because I loved my woodworking class at Pasadena High School. That's where I went to school. So I had a passion for that. Everything I did and I made, I took home and I got all kinds of nice little compliments on. So I said, I'm going to stay around this. My English papers weren't that great. My science work was interesting, but not really that interesting. So I decided that I wanted to become a woodshop teacher. So I found out what it was going to take to do that. Now, in my day, it took 4 years of college. Hey, no, they'd add another one on there. You had to student teach, and you had to go another year to get a teaching credential. And then you could become a woodshop teacher. So it was a 5-year process. And I told him, I said, oh no, I don't want to go to school anymore. I already know it all. I know what woodworking's all about. I know it. they said, no, just go do it, Richard. And so I did. I played all the little college games, did it, came through, went to work at San Gabriel High School as the woodworking teacher. And I was there for 19 years teaching high school woodshop. I had 150 kids every day, students. And as I got older, I stayed younger because I was in the teenage world. And it was amazing to me. And then I left. I was recruited to go to the county office to help other teachers in the career technical education areas. And so I went, it was in Los Angeles County. And so I went to help them. That was the auto shop teachers, the drafting teachers, like the design teachers, the woodworking teachers, the automotive teachers. And I did that for 25 years. At the end of that time, though, I started helping teachers get teaching credentials. So I was in charge of the credential services at the Los Angeles County Office of Education. And then I retired. And when I retired, El Camino College said, hey, Richard, would you come over here and help new teachers get into the field of education? And so I said, sure, thanks, you know, because that's my passion anyway. So that's kind of my story. Now, entrepreneurship, hey, that's great. I just saw that pop up. That's good. Okay. That's a great subject. Now, are any of you teachers now? Okay. Not really, I guess. Since we don't have.
Oh, we do have one person who is training in entrepreneurship.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Cecilia, I hope I'm saying that right. Or Celia.
Great. Okay, so it sort of goes back to your favorite class. Maybe that's why Cecilia likes entrepreneurship, because she had a lot of course, they didn't really have entrepreneurship classes very often, but now they're popular.
Huge.
They're usually they were under business education at the time, in my time, and it still is for business education classes. So the next question is, are you an industry professional? Because that's what we're talking about. Remember I said I had to go to college 5 years and I became a woodshop teacher? And I already knew it all before I went to college. So, you know, I didn't pick up anything there. No, I picked up some ideas. But so the idea is, if you want to come into teaching out of your industry or out of your professional work experience, then you can get a teaching credential. All right. Let's talk a minute about teacher pay. Do you care? Does that matter? Huh? One thing I tell people is, don't go into teaching if you've already got a good job. And I ask them this question: can you afford to be a teacher? So let me get my pen here.
I wanted to mention
Go ahead,
that
Bob.
Patty Tiller in the chat box mentioned that she wants to teach math.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Go to
I was
college.
thinking of Mitch Midler that you helped.
Yes.
Get his credential. And he's a math guy, math and computers.
He is. Yes, because math and computers kind of goes together.
Yeah.
But the best thing, if you're to be a math teacher, is that you go to college for 5 years, or at least 4, and you have a major in math, and then you get a teaching credential in math. And those in the Cal States are all set up to help you with that, and even National University. There's a lot of them that can help you with that road. But here's the other thing: if you want to talk to me more about it, or Bobby, but I'm going to give you my direct phone numbers, and I want you to know that I'm there to talk to you on the phone about whatever subject you want to teach. I don't know what all there is to know about all the subjects, but anyway, okay. So here's a little bit about teaching. Teacher pay. Teachers get paid for 185 days. Okay, now, when I was a junior at Pasadena High School, my teacher put this number up on the board. In those days, it was really only 180. My notes. All right, but I said 185 days, Mr. Bush, that's his name. He's still a friend of mine. 185 days. I said, aren't there 365 days in a year? Does that mean that I have another 180 days that I'm not working? Oh, you know what that is? That's the schedule of a junior in high school. They only go to school 180 days. I was used to that. I thought I was going to school the whole time. No, no, no. I had 180 days that I could do whatever I wanted. So I said, that's great. Okay. So number one is you only work 180 days. So I'm going to talk about teacher pay, not by the hour too much, but about by the day, because we all have the same amount of time during the day. Okay, so we have a day. All right, so if you were working at the at Alhambra School District, and you were a first-year teacher, they are at about $53,000 a year. Now you divide that by 185. Does somebody have a calculator up? I'm not going to wait for that. Bobby does. She's a whiz at these numbers. She loves the numbers. So there's $53,000 to start. Hey, there's somebody else's picture. That's great. Now that makes my day. I can't tell you how much that makes my day. Thank you for logging on. All right, how much is this per day, Bobby?
$186.
How much?
286.
I started as a math major. The fact that I did on my calculator was unacceptable, but.
All right. $286 per day to teach high school and whatever those classes are that you want to teach.
Well, and Richard, I want to point out, like, that's a beginning salary. I have a sister who's currently a high school teacher, and she's almost at 100 grand right now for 185 days a year.
Okay. You're a little ahead of me, Renee. If I was still at San Gabriel High School, I would be at
Yep.
I would be at $109,000 a year. Now, Bobby, how much is that a day?
589.
Now, is that guy worth $589 a day to teach a little wood shop at San Gabriel High School? Ladies and gentlemen, there's no, yeah, there's one guy. You know, the men don't show up to these, do you notice that? These Zoom meetings? There's something wrong there. That's a side issue. Okay, so almost $600 a day. Now, plus they get health, plus they get, and that's about $1,000 a month, plus they get retirement, about $800 a month. I mean, it's a good paying job. So when my woodshop teacher showed me that as an 11th grader, I said, yeah, I'd rather do that than paint houses or make furniture or do those other things. So most of you, some of you look rather young, but most of you have some sort of other occupation. And so you have already gone into an occupation and now you're thinking, hey, I want to, not do the work, but I want to teach it. So if you have a passion to teach it, let's talk and we'll work you through the process. Anybody have any questions about that? Does that make any sense? Did you know that already? Somebody turn on their mic. Is anybody there?
We're here. I wanted to mention again that I think only 2 people typed their email addresses in the chat.
Okay.
Renee had asked them to type the email address for the $10 Starbucks card drawing.
Yep.
Just to let people know.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, let's keep reminding them.
And I think everybody is automatically muted on this call, but they can unmute themselves.
Yes, yes, I didn't, that's in the lower left-hand corner.
Right.
The little red icon. And so all you do is you just click on that and you're with us then. If nobody says anything, I'm gonna be real discouraged in another 15 minutes.
It looks like a microphone.
I know, it looks like a microphone. Okay. Okay, so it's a good job. So when I go in and talk to a community college automotive class, all right, they want to be technicians. I said, okay, all of you are in training for 2 years to be an automotive technician. You love cars. You love automobiles. So you want to be a technician. Well, they're going to pay you $14 an hour. What are you going to college for $14 an hour for? Go to work. Well, after you go to community college, get your training, then go to work and then come in and you be Mr. Encinas, your teacher there. And you're going to go to starting, now at the community college, it's a lot higher, but in the high school, you're going to be starting at 45 an hour. Don't make 14 an hour when you could be making 45 in a professional, and you get your own shop. Mm-hmm. Now, the one reason I told you that I put up with all of that college was because I was going to get the keys to the wood shop. That's really all I wanted. So I could stay around those machines. That's the same thing with these guys teaching automotive. They want to have their own auto shop. So if you're going to teach entrepreneurship or whatever, you can use those things. All right, let's talk about getting a credential. So this credential is not based on college work. It's based on 3 years of work experience. So like I say, some of you look too young, but at some point you're going to have 3 years of experience. Or the other thing is maybe you have somebody in your family right now who qualifies and they're sitting on the sofa not knowing what to do, watching TV. Maybe they have a passion to teach. They could qualify for a California teaching credential, 3 years of work experience. And it's based on a letter. Based on a letter like this, on letterhead. It's that short. You want to keep it short. Because if you talk to me on the phone on this, I'm going to tell you that a clerk reads this letter. And if it's too complicated, if you're talking about all the different kinds of welding or transmissions in a car, hey, it's going to go right over their head. So keep it simple. I help you develop this letter. If we talk, I will send you a sample letter. You make it your own. It goes in with your next thing, application. You have to apply for the credential. Now the application is, I'll mail you this, is this. Now it looks kind of long, complicated. There's a lot of stuff in here, but I put little stickies on it, on each page to show you what to fill in. I even fill in some of it on it for you because I know, because we've talked, what it should say. There's a lot of education, I'm going to call it education ease in here. It's very complicated. And yeah, you can just go on the internet and you can download this and you can give up because you start to read it and you go, what's that all about? What's that all about? What's that mean? What's that single subject credential? What's a designated subject credential? So anyway, that's the packet. I put it in the mail, or I see he didn't show up, but a week and a half ago, I met Joey down at Home Depot in the parking lot. I can't meet him at Cerritos College anymore. I can't take him to a high school anymore. So we had to put our masks on. and go into the Home Depot parking lot and talk, and I gave him the packet. He's mailed in the packet, and he got a teaching credential a week and a half ago. This is what it looks like. I know it's kind of Mickey Mouse, but it says that you can teach in the state of California, and in his case, he can teach business and finance, or classes, marketing, sales, and services. So I didn't talk too much about that, and I would help you on the phone, but determining what your credential would allow you to teach. It doesn't say math here, okay? It's not for the academic subjects. There's 15 different vocational subjects or career technical education subjects, but it's signed at the bottom by the Los Angeles County Office of Education. This is immediately good. In fact, today, he said that he found a job. Not going to talk much about jobs, but that is a big aspect. And that's what I'll talk to you about personally if you have questions about jobs. But EdJoin, he looked on EdJoin, he found a job for, it's called cybersecurity. They didn't have that 5 years ago, right? Cybersecurity? Now they want to teach that at Anaheim High School or in Anaheim School District. And where are they going to get a teacher that knows cybersecurity? They need somebody who's worked in the field of cybersecurity. And this guy Joey did, so we're going to go back and get his credential in that. And he's applying for this job tomorrow. I mean, he started this 2 weeks ago, not 5 years. He started this 2 weeks ago, and he will probably get an interview and maybe get a job. Now, eventually, this will show up this is a credential. It's pretty Mickey Mouse, but it'll show up on your computer and you can print it out. It looks sort of like a certificate. I was noticing on this, though, it doesn't even say what her subject is. It just says it's a career technical education credential. So I don't know. I've only been in this 55 years, so I'm still trying to figure it out. Okay. So that's issuing the credential. It's almost immediate. Oh boy. Okay, I've just looked at my clock. 3 years to take the coursework. In other words, remember I had to go to college and I got to teach? Now you get to teach and you have 3 years to take 4 methods classes. They're all online. They're $500 each, so it's not free or cheap, and then after, so they're online, and then after 3 years, you have to clear that credential. So there's some requirements to do. It's not just that you're gonna get this thing and go and teach. So that's the next thing down here says questions and assistance. So what kind of questions might you have? I'm going to put my text number here, just so you have it. Where are the questions? Anybody? Turn off your mic. And
There are a couple questions.
all right. Yeah, Bobby or who?
Oh, Bobby, you're faster than me. I was working on reformatting my bullets, but Bobby already got them on. Excellent. So Bobby just put on the chat the different areas that you can get a designated subjects credential.
Yep.
And we have a couple questions in the chat box right now. Let's see. Sorry, I'm looking for the first. Is it a California credential for individual for each school and college district? And who are you applying to?
Okay, that's a good question. You're applying to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, top secret organization in Sacramento. They've been there all my life. There's nobody to talk to there.
No.
So don't try, okay? You have to process your credential through a local educational agency. So that's a university or the county office. So we send these packets to the Los Angeles County Office of Education. They go over the paperwork, the packet that I showed you. Then they recommend you to Sacramento for a credential, and they can issue the credential immediately. If you want the math credential, if that lady's still on there, then you would go through a university, and when you're at the end of the program, they will recommend you for the teaching credential. The Commission on Teacher Credentialing depends on these intermediate agencies to recommend the person, because they don't know who they are. Hey, but the question was, where is it good? Anywhere in the state of California. If you want to move to Tulare tomorrow or next week, take your credential with you. It's a state of California teaching credential. If you want to go to Arizona, you know, you've had it, going to Arizona. Well, take it with you and see what Arizona's rules are. It could be that they'd say, hey, you've done all this already. Okay, just process another application. We're going to give you an Arizona credential. The other thing is the credential is good for 5 years. After the first one, this preliminary is 3 years. Then the next one you get is good for 5 years. And then every 5 years you have to renew it. But that's just a paper push. Now, was that enough?
That's good. Richard, could you also talk about any fees associated with getting your designated subjects credential, please?
Yeah. I'm really expensive. So, you know, no. Okay, so the fees are really low, I think. There's a $100 fee to the Los Angeles County Office of Education, who processes this for you and then gives you the credential. So that's $100. There is another $100 fee that goes up to Sacramento. And that's in the packet. You have to have 2 money orders for a total of $200 to process this. There is also a live scan requirement here. So that would be another maybe $60 to $70 depending on where you are and whether you can get it. So the fees are, and I am available to you because Bobby has a project called Teacher Pipeline that is funded through the Chancellor's Office in the state of California. And so she is able to provide her services and Renee's and mine to any of you that want it. So we are really there to help you. That phone number on there is my text number and my phone number. If you will text me with your name, then I will put your name in my contacts, because nobody's answering the phone anymore. Have you noticed? If it pops up, you know, El Monte, California, I go, well, I don't know, you know, who's that? But so I put you in my contacts immediately. If you text me, just text it direct. I can look over these things a little bit more afterwards. I'm not watching the. Another question. Was there another question, Bobby?
There's a great question here. At the bottom, somebody just asked, so looking at the list of the CTE designated subjects, I'm assuming it still breaks down further. For example, print, screen, or graphics. Where can I get a more in-depth list for brainstorming? Richard, does it break down more? Because I think people are like, you're more in generalist categories, and then you may have a certain specialty.
Probably more than what you wanted to know.
Yeah.
But when I was at the county office, there were 250 different subjects you could have on their credential. Just as I was retiring, then they changed it to 15. So if I have a building, well, let's say if I want to teach an automotive field, maybe I'm just going to teach a transmission class, maybe just an engine building class, maybe just a brakes class. Well, now my credential says transportation. I can teach diesel mechanics, bus drivers. I can even teach with a transportation airplane mechanic. So they're much more general. And that was the list that Bobby had up there a minute ago. What I would do if I'm talking to you, because I don't know, okay, you want to teach graphics. Graphics is kind of, well, I'll tell you what it would be. It's a product manufacturing. Doesn't make sense, but that's where graphics is listed. Okay, because there is no graphics. You notice the list. And so there's no graphic arts, but yet there's all kinds of jobs in graphics. So I can help you pick out the proper subject and then help you develop the letter to match the subject. And then you get the credential. And then sometimes you have to convince the school district that you're qualified to teach that. And there is a list. So I can supply you the list. In fact, it's actually in the packet that I send you just so you have it. Another question.
I wanted to mention that I also put a link for a PDF, and on page 5, they have a chart that sort of breaks down all the industry sectors, the ones that were in that bulleted list I sent.
Yep.
Shows the pathways and shows specific occupations.
Yep.
So you can refer to that as well. But like Richard said, some things like drafting can apply to more than one industry sector. And he mentioned like graphics. Some things can apply to more than one, and he can help you figure out the best fit.
The only reason I can do that is because of the experience I have. I mean, there's nothing magic about it, but I just say, well, I helped this person get that one. And like there isn't one in culinary arts that Renee wants to teach when she grows up. Why not? See, if I was, you know how popular culinary arts is now? I mean, has been for the last 5 years, especially because of TV programs.
What does culinary fall under then, Richard? I was assuming it had its own. Is it under hospitality and tourism and recreation?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a problem with you saying we have to grow up.
I'm the oldest one here. I know.
I'm putting a link also on the chat right now for there is a fact sheet that the Commission on Teacher Credentialing puts out about designated subjects. And so I'm going to put the link. I'm hoping it works. If for some reason it doesn't, if you just Google CTC Designated Subjects Credential, it's the first thing that comes up because it's the information sheet. So it's hopefully this will work.
Yeah, go ahead if you like that. But do you see that guy's phone number? Who in the world knows what a designated subjects teaching credential is? There's only 3 people who know. Okay.
Not that many people that do.
It's just a name they made up way back when, and so it's like, oh, look at all of that. Look at how long the link is for that.
That's a ridiculous link there, but
go ahead and read it if you can't go to sleep or something, you know, but there'll be stuff in there that you will understand, stuff that you don't. But it's good to be knowledgeable. I agree. But
Richard, would you also, there's somebody on the chat, I know you covered a bit about renewing the credential, but could you remind us again, how many years do you get the credential once you do the paperwork before you have to renew?
Okay, 3 years, and it's called a preliminary. It's not called an emergency. There's all these other names, but it's called a preliminary, which means you're working on your requirements. 3 years, you have to take these 4 classes that are online. Mm-hmm. Then you have to renew it, and then it's good for 5 years, and then you have to renew it every 5 years.
Okay.
So it's simple, and they will remind you because they want your another $100.
Absolutely. I get my reminding from the CTC for my credential. So I
right.
One thing, nobody asks this, but I do want to mention, a lot of times people will wonder if they have done fingerprinting with another agency, if they can just transfer their fingerprints over. It is not allowed. You have to do a brand new one when you're getting your credential. You do not have to do it every time you renew, but you do have to do it with CTC that first time that you do the credential with them.
So in the packet is the live scan form. I will put a note on there that said, leave it blank until you go into the live scan place, and then they will fill out what they need, and make you a copy of it. It's in the packet. So yes, don't try to skip anything. Well, or call me.
Yeah.
I can tell you in 10
Honestly,
seconds. Nope.
I feel like if anytime somebody is willing to help you with paperwork for the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, so for anybody who's looking at a designated subjects credential, anybody who's looking at a child development permit, like you want to find people who can help with that, because one of the hardest things is if somebody does their own paperwork, they send it forward and there's a discrepancy, then your timing starts, you have to wait till you get it back and then the clock begins again. And if you can avoid that from the start, it's better. Richard, would you mind talking for a few minutes about, are there any areas within the designated subject credential that you think there's more opportunity for employment than others? Like for instance, I know a lot of schools right now are taking a huge emphasis on entrepreneurship, especially our charter schools in California. So for somebody who's looking at maybe that area of a designated subjects credential, would they have more potential than others? Or do you see any trends of kind of like, just you're more likely to be hired if you get your designated subject in this area?
Okay, well, number one is if you get a career technical education credential, there used to be a lot of money that followed it to the district. We don't know what's happening right now, but that's why I say it that way. So districts have been scrambling for the last 2 or 3 years to hire people that have this credential because they have to have a career technical education credential teacher to access this money. So to answer your question, automotive is still, or transportation is still a big area. Building construction and building trades and construction is still one that is going, you might say. The people I work with are mostly in that industrial technology area, but we're working on this information technology also with the cyber stuff. So I would say, if you have a credential, you can go to the district and offer your services. Say, hey, have you thought of, you have an auto shop sitting over there. Have you thought of a transportation class? Oh, we've been dying to get somebody to come in and teach that class. We need something for those students. Hey, you have the credential, you apply, you help them develop the program. So we'll see what happens, next year with the potential of jobs. But since EdJoin had this job on, I just saw it this morning, they're going to interview for a new area. So yes, somebody said, well, I would say, hey, what I tell people is, all you need is one job. You don't need to worry about these job numbers. If you're good at it and if you want to do it, then all you need is one job. Now, what I would offer to do for any of the people I'm working with is I say, hey, have you been into an auto shop? Yeah, I had it when I was in high school. I said, well, or maybe they said they didn't. I said, well, I'll take you to an auto shop, a friend of mine, auto shop program, automotive educational program at such and such a high school. Really? I said, yeah, I want you to see what it's like to get to the road. If it's not something for you, if you don't think you'd like to do it, okay, you spent $200, maybe $270 total. Just walk away from it. Or let's don't go that route. Or come back and visit the teacher again. See what they do.
Mm-hmm. I love
okay.
For anybody who's considering this to make sure that they like kids. Because if you're going to be working with teenagers, like you've got to make sure you're okay with that population. And that's, I think that's something important also. Richard,
what happened to me is I didn't like adults. After I left the classroom after 19 years, I'd walk by the mirror and I thought there was another teenager in there. And I saw this old man, I was a whole 40 years old, but I saw him walking around the room. I said, what's that old guy doing in here? Because if you want to stay around youth, if you want to understand youth, that's really important. Now, Renee and I were talking about this, which ties right in. This is a book that I am really intrigued. If you're interested in education, all you have to do is just put iGen. These iGeners are part of the population that has never known life without a portable screen. And all this woman did is interview iGeners. Now I have 5 grandkids. I didn't get a chance to brag about them, but I have 5 grandkids. All of them are iGeners. One's 22 and one is 12, 22 to 12. When I read this book, I couldn't believe it because all she did was she interviewed iGeners. And it says here, why today's super connected kids are growing up less rebellious. Hey, that's good for us teachers. And I see that all the time when I go into the classroom. I said, these kids are apathetic. They're not rebellious, less happy, and unprepared for adulthood. Now that's what you, the new teachers, are going to be up against. Not up against in a bad way. You've got to figure it out. What are they doing? Back to Renee.
You know, it's going to be you, Richard, because that generation is going to be the iGen kids that you're talking about.
Your girls.
They're going to be desperately wanting to do hands-on, like they're going to be our CTE next generation because they're going to start getting sick of their devices. We're going to see this, and they're going to want to do things where they build it and create it themselves.
Yeah, so why not make a skateboard in wood shop? You know what STEM is? We're not, or STEAM, we're not going to talk about that at this time, but that's the math. That's what the M is, if that lady's still on. That's you. This is engineering. So what's a square wheel doing here? What does that have to do with anything? Who would ever think that somebody would invent a square wheel? This wheel works to kick out debris that's in front of the wheel that usually stops the wheel and makes you fall off the skateboard. It's called shark wheels. I was talking to a kid on Monday, a little kid, he was riding his scooter around. I said, hey, you ride a skateboard? He said, yeah. I said, have you ever heard of shark wheels? He said, yeah, my brother has some. So, you know, I feel like, hey, I'm way behind. You know, I'm the only one that doesn't know about this. But so we're saying, hey, woodshop teachers, make something the students want, allow them to, you know, to learn about the science and the math and to make something. So yes, making something is very important. Well, I have some other stuff here, but
yeah,
well, we're in questions and answers, aren't we?
Okay, I love too that somebody said save that on Shark Tank. That's the first thing I'm thinking of. I'm like, ooh, that should be on Shark Tank.
that guy Peter Patrick, David Patrick, he's now a personal friend of mine. Well, obviously I'm showing his product around, right? So I've got a whole bag of shark wheels. If I had him in the back of my car when I saw that kid there, I would have given him a set of shark wheels. Nice. But yes, so David Patrick went on Shark Tank and promoted his Shark Wheels is just a name, but he promoted it on Shark Tank. He walked out of there with a deal with every one of the sharks. And then the deal imploded.
Oh, no.
I don't know. He didn't need them. He decided or something. I don't know. So yeah, watch it on Shark Tank. Oh yeah, he said he saw that. Okay, he saw that. But that guy's an inventor.
Yeah.
He never went to college. He just went to work. And he has 5 kids. They're all working in the company. He's inventing all kinds of things. So those shark wheels are on luggage now. So you can drag your luggage behind you and you're not going to stop when you hit a piece of gravel. You know, I think, Renee, since Patty has been so good about being on the video, that she ought to get the Starbucks.
Okay, excellent. I wrote her name down because of her picture. So Patty, I'll be emailing you first a Starbucks gift card pretty soon.
Yes.
Good job, Patty. And Patty,
Thank
just
you.
to confirm, you're Patty Lopez on email though, right? Perfect. Okay.
Okay, she's incognito. That's a good point,
Thank
though.
you.
That is our entrepreneur lady still on?
Yeah.
Okay, was that, who is that? Cecilia? Is Cecilia the entrepreneur? Anyway, so Shark Tank and The Prophet have made entrepreneurship famous. Famous, that's not a good word, but into a celebrity. So if I was teaching entrepreneurship, I would some way use those programs to teach that whole idea of building a company and what the value is. And it has to do with product and has to do, but man, the people that used to try to teach entrepreneurship, they didn't have tools like that. But now the trouble is young people aren't watching that show very often.
Kids watch it. We're totally into it at my house.
Well, you make your junior hires watch it, but yeah, I am too. I mean, I watch back ones because I forget what product was. I love it.
Richard, I just put your email and cell phone number in the chat.
Good. You know what's funny is nobody's reading emails,
You do.
and I bug Bobby with them, but
I always read emails.
well, but when I read this book, she just surveyed. She's not making this stuff up. She surveyed so many thousand iGeners, and they don't use emails. And my grandkids, they said, "Grampy, don't send me an email. I only check it once a week." So I'm kind of going with the text idea. Now, I'm not into Twitter and Instagram and all the rest. In fact, I had a call in yesterday with a teacher. He's teaching at a community college. And, we're all trying to connect with this mess we're in. But he says that they're using, in the book says that they're using Twitter and Instagram. Why aren't we doing that?
We do.
Oh, okay, I don't.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Mostly
I don't.
Instagram.
None of my, okay, so I'm in a class at Cerritos College right now. I'm in one. I'm a student. It's called Woodshop.
I love it.
Why not, right?
I'm not
So, boom, they close the doors. All of my wooden projects are trapped in the wood shop. What's the matter with that? And I have all this time. And El Camino, the same thing. Close the doors. Pasadena, close the doors. College of the Canyons, close the doors. They won't even let the teachers go back just to get their stuff so that they can teach online like we're trying to do. I was like, oh, so anyway, I've got a call in. Hey, Tony, are you using Instagram? You keep telling me it's a good way for your students to connect. Are you using it? Because I don't think he is. And maybe it's just because nobody's asking if it's working. I'm trying to figure out, the only reason I volunteered to do this is I'm trying to figure out, do this Zoom thing, is I'm trying to figure out whether anybody's listening and whether it's making a difference. And some of you have kids at home and you see what they're getting or what they're not getting. Have you thought of being a homeschool teacher? Have you thought of being a charter school teacher? See, I'm talking about the shop teachers and these career technical area teachers, but if you have a state of California teaching credential, you can hinge off of that. And you know that there's a home education program on every block that you live on. And those poor parents don't know what to do. And if you have a passion to teach, maybe you could teach them something. And
Excuse me, Richard.
you are Patty?
Yes, I'm Patty.
And you're doing what?
I just had a question with what you're saying. To homeschool your own child or nephews or nieces, now what we're going through, this is something that I've been really concerned about I keep hearing that they want to reopen the schools, and obviously we don't have a vaccine available. So I've been thinking about having that as an option for my son and my nephew, since I enjoy teaching and working with children. I wanted to know, you just mentioned that to teach your child, you do need a credential?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you don't?
No.
But
Oh.
Patty,
And I'm a child development major. I'm like one class away from finishing all my CD classes.
Nice.
okay.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is you almost bring tears to my eyes because you already have that passion. I'm serious. It's people like you that want to help your nieces and nephews and want to help your own kids. And you're going to have to step up and do it. The
I
thing
have
that
been doing it. I just don't know the requirement, and that's why I wanted to join.
There isn't any. Do what makes sense. If the schools are really up and going, I talked to a lady that's in Long Beach here. I said, call the school district and find out who the homeschool coordinator is for the Long Beach School District. There is somebody being paid in Long Beach School, I think, okay, to help people homeschool. And they will give you the textbooks and all the rest. So, if you really want to get into it, number one is, if you have a teaching credential, I don't care what it's in, it's going to look better when you go to the parents or your brothers and sisters and say, look, I have a state of California teaching credential. It's in . And, but I can teach them math, third grade math. So yeah, so there's a big market out there, I think, especially if this continues. And I can kind of sense that you don't want to send your kids back, Patty. Okay.
I don't want to.
Okay. So
Unknown.
there's predictions right now that possibly 40% of the kids are not going to come back. Now, if that happens, then they will need 40% less teachers, right? If there's no
I'd rather
cloning.
do the online classes.
I know. Those are really working great, aren't they, Patty?
Though, just so
Not
everybody knows, if we move onto an official distance learning model in fall, you will still homeschool through a district where you have a teacher that checks in with you once a month to make sure you have the right curriculum. It's not like we're all going to be on our own in terms of homeschooling. There's no way.
okay.
So it will be related to a district or a charter, or there is an institution that will help you and support you. And Patty, make sure you grab my contact info, because I can help you with all of that. Okay. And I want to help you also with child development too, because that's a pathway I'm very, very familiar with.
Oh, I met the right person. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
What city do you live in, Patty?
I live in East Los Angeles.
Okay.
Good. You're close.
I live in San Gabriel, so we're close.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I always been passionate about child development and teaching. I kind of deviated a little bit from my goal because I started working with adults with developmental disabilities.
Okay.
But I'm kind of heading back towards my real true passion, which is working with children. And right now I'm working as a supervisor for children after school program for children with special needs.
Oh, excellent.
Well, and all of those jobs, I would think, would be, they would love it if you had a teaching credential.
Yes, like I said, I started, but I got overwhelmed with the whole package.
Eventually, you're going to get that, and then your world is even going to open up more. It sounds like you got plenty of jobs, but yeah, there's after-school programs, or there used to be. So they needed teachers for that, and they were being run by the Boys and Girls Clubs, so after school. And you can be a coordinator for that. But since you go through the fingerprint or live scan check, you're credentialed, you do there's a professional questionnaire in there, so it sort of protects the school district. And if you find out something, especially through Renee, about networking with the homeschool system at the district, then let me know what you find out.
If anybody wants information about different homeschool options, please let me know, because in addition to the lots of things I've done in education, I helped start a charter in my community 13 years ago that has now turned into a series of 6 schools across the United States. So I can help a lot with charter questions too.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, oh, hi. Oh, my video is off. Okay. So I used to study at LBCC like 2 years ago. I was an international student back there.
No acronyms.
Huh?
Long Beach City College.
Okay, well,
sorry.
there's a
City
lot of,
College.
it could have been in LA.
Sorry, I knew it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good.
I was an international student back there.
Yeah.
Now I'm back in my country, but still some of my child development professors, they told me about all these workshops. So I decided to join.
Excellent.
But the credentials, I cannot follow them because they're not for my country, but I'm still listening. But I was wondering, mostly I'm a teacher at preschool, but I was wondering, now that we're like more virtually, how many times should a kid be on a Zoom meeting, you know?
Ooh, Evelyn, that depends on the age. That depends on a lot.
My preschoolers, they're 4 to 5, but we're doing it like once a week or twice, but then their parents are like, no, you should do it more.
Yeah. Here's what's happening. Okay, for right now, everybody's just doing the best that they can with distance learning. And come fall, we better be 100% up to speed or we are going to lose the customers in our preschools and our K through 12 schools. So you're in a pivotal moment where you can like survey them. Okay, so what works for you, what doesn't work for you, we're planning for fall. How old are the kids you're working with?
4 to 5, they're pre-K.
Okay, great. 4 and 5, you can also look at the American Association of Pediatric Doctors to see what the suggested amount of screen time is. Because honestly, between 4 and 5 years old,
it's like 30. It's not even 40 minutes.
Yep. But parents are panicking and throwing their kids on ABC Mouse 24/7 and stuff like that because they don't know what to do. Evelyn, what country are you in?
I'm in Central America, Honduras.
Oh, excellent. Evelyn, if you don't mind, please, I'm going to put my contact info in. Please contact me after so you and I can talk more because I'm actually, tomorrow I'm helping to hold a statewide meeting where we're talking about what early childhood education is going to look like in California come fall. So I'm going to get information that will be relevant for you in Honduras. Okay, so let's stay in touch because even though you're out of the country and not close by, right now we're all close by because we're not, you know, we don't have to
all on a screen.
So I'm going to put my cell phone in here too, in case you want to connect that way.
I wrote down your email, but I will write down your cell phone.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
So Evelyn, those students need to see your face.
No, they always see it.
I know. Well, they must be.
I had the video on at first. Now I notice it was not on.
Yeah. Well, no, but I mean, that's where they need to connect.
Yeah.
And so the more that you can do just to be their friend like you do when they're there in your classroom and kind of lean down and talk to them. My thing is they need their teacher.
Yeah.
They need to know that their teacher cares. They knew that at one point, and I've talked to a couple of parents and they're actually grandparents that have their kids in, that their kids were in preschools. And the preschools sort of went into free fall, just like the rest of us. I mean, in my opinion, that's just my opinion. So connect with them, do the best you can, try to see their little faces, and you'll see their parents. Their parents are looking over the shoulder, and they know that that you care as a teacher. Now that's something we've never had in education. Parents used to meet the teachers.
Yeah, now
what? You know, and hey, that guy, you know, or that gal, or hey, it seems to have a good idea there, or whatever.
Yeah. I had one of my friends do something really interesting to connect with students. She owns a preschool in my town, and she has 110 students in her school, and she literally hand sewed 110 felt hearts that she stuffed with rice and put like her, like she wears a certain perfume or something. So she put a little spray on each one, mailed them to all 110 kids. And now the kids are taking pictures holding their Miss Sally felt heart that smells like her, because for a 3 or 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, that's tangible. Sally
Yeah.
can't be there, but she's sending you a heart that smells like her. So you remember she's there, even though she's really only on screen right now. So it's a time to get creative. Another thing too is teachers are also doing like flat Stanley, but now like flat Mrs. Marshall, and where are you going to take your teacher
Yeah, I have the
adventures? You know, so
Bitmoji. Yeah.
it's a different time in education, but we're going to rise above this and be better. And you have to have faith in that.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
So I put this number up here. It's $14,000. That's what you and I pay through our taxes, this little thin wallet, for each kid that goes to San Gabriel High School for a year. Each one of them is worth $14,000. They're still worth the teachers are still getting paid at the same rate to do a 20-minute Zoom a week. I'm going like, what? The school is still getting to 14,000. So the other point is, that's why Renee was saying that that the homeschool movement is tied into the school, and the school will give you whatever you want, because they would love for Patty to keep their third grader at home, and they'll give her all the books she wants because they're going to get $14,000, and they don't have to pay a teacher. So it's always sort of like follow the money, you know, what's going on. So I have a friend that has a child in preschool. He's real happy because it's a private preschool. And they're paying $6,500 a year for preschool. But if they're not producing, then they're not going to send their kid for $6,500. So they are challenged to produce. And because it's about the money again. Unfortunately, most people don't think it's about the money, or they don't see it's about the money. Education is the largest industry in the world, and it is in our society. You remember last week they had, the first responders and National Nurses Day? Did you pick up on that? So they said there's 4,000 nurses. There's 6,000 teachers. There's 4 million nurses. Okay, we see them all the time on the news now. 4 million nurses. There's 6 million teachers. I mean, we are way above any other industry. How many Walmarts do you pass? Or between the Walmarts, how many schools do you pass? Those schools are expensive. Big system. So it's about the money. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with the money. I don't know what's going to happen with the online. I don't know how much time you need to put online either. If I was your supervisor, I would encourage you to do as much as you can, as long as I'm paying you. Don't go to Oregon on me. Come on, James, you're up in Oregon. How's that going to work? You know, he's not teaching, but the teacher said, "Hey, I've got to go cook some bread." I'm going like, "Come on, it's 1 o'clock. What do you mean you're going to go cook some bread? Who are you teaching?" So I hope we don't drop the ball. I better not get on that. Okay.
I think there's a whole series of like workshops we need to do on homeschooling, honestly, because there's just a lot going on right now and people could use some extra support, teachers and parents.
All 5 of my grandkids were homeschooled by their parents and me. But they were all part of consortiums. And that's the other thing, Patty, that's probably what Renee would tell you, is that you can join consortiums, groups. They'll go out to a museum. It's it's flexible, a lot more flexible. I almost quit my job at the county office so I could help homeschool my grandkids. I thought, well, maybe I'll leave my job, help them, and then I'll come back and go to work after they don't care about Grampy anymore.
It's a different time in education.
My little grandkids were just the love of my. They still are, but but I know what they think of you, Evelyn.
Well, I think we are at 12. Actually, we're a little over 12. Richard, thank you so much for this workshop today. And I hope everybody really got the message clear that Richard is available to work one-on-one with you. He's available to work one-on-one with applications, questions about the designated subject credential. If any of you are looking for a single subject credential or multiple subject credential, I can help with that. I can also help with child development permits. So between Richard and I, if you're looking to teach anything, we're here for you. And we're here to help with applications, questions, whatever. I mean, we are a people that you can go to and you can access, and we believe in it. Oh, I love it. I love it. Very nice. I love that shirt, Richard.
A little marketing.
Excellent. Well,
I was
thank
going to say, and they both do respond to email, because I know a lot of what they do is to work with documents with you, and they'll email you sample letters and the applications and things that you need. They'll email them to you. So they do answer emails.
We don't want paperwork to be a gatekeeper to keep you out of the field of education. There's
Right.
so much possibility and potential right now, and so many different types of places that will employ people with a designated subject credential. And we know there's a shortage of those people in our K through 12 system. So, and also as faculty. And so please know that you are needed right now. And if this is a subject credential, or if this is a credential you're considering, we're here for you. We're here to help. So please make sure you keep our information. We really appreciate everybody being here today. And any last words, Richard?
I want to thank you for making my day, because you brought joy into my life to be able to see you, to be able to hear your questions, to be able to see your questions. And so thank you for being who you are and your interest in this topic. Thanks. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you. Thank you. And special thanks to El Camino College for hosting this workshop today and for encouraging us to be on. We really appreciate the support, Bobby. It's great to be out here. Thank you so much, everybody. Please make sure you take our contact information, be in touch. Also, we have a lot more different workshops coming up. So if you need that link to the brochure that has all the workshops, shoot us an email and we will make sure that we send it to you.
Are they going to be more workshops for June, July, or it was only for May?
You know what, Evelyn, great question. This one is only for May, but I am pretty confident that our team is going to be rolling out more workshops in June and July. Especially since we're virtual now. We have people in our team that are across the state of California. So in the past, it would be a challenge if like San Francisco or somebody was offering, but now it's going to be online. So we just stay in touch with us, and we can add you to like our contact information. And so as things roll out, then you'll just, you're welcome to take whatever you're interested in. And one of the cool things is whenever we have funding, we just try and do it for free too. So as of now, like things aren't costing because we have other ways to pay our presenters and stuff. So it's a great time to jump on the professional development train for sure. If at any point you feel like you're out of the loop and don't hear from us, keep my email and just shoot me an email or text and be like, hey, Renee, what's coming up in June? And I'll just make sure that we get you everything needed. We're here to help everyone.
Thank you.
And I do know that one of our partners up in San Francisco, Kathleen, she was excited when we told her about this, and she talked about doing one from up there too. So
perfect. And Evelyn, thank you for your data point of being in Honduras, because that helps us as we are striving to get additional funding to continue these type of workshops, when we can say, hey, we have people who aren't even in California, not even in the US, that are coming to us for resources. That helps us. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
I still have California and Long Beach in my heart.
Once Long Beach, forever.
Forever.
Excellent. And I see that people are asking about the recording. Absolutely. Just give me like a day or so to get it, and then we're going to put it, we'll send out the link to everybody. Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Richard. Thank you everybody for being here today. Have a wonderful rest of the day, everybody.
Thanks, Renee. Thanks, Richard.
Take care.
bye, you guys.
Thanks, Jim.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.